Hi everyone, this is Gary Wilson and welcome to tonight's live investor agent webinar. Again, welcome aboard to all those who've been in other training programs, flipping for profits, rental profits without the pain, rental profits without the pain, excuse me, and turning rental problems into real estate profits. The wholesaling program is in edit right now. We'll likely have that sometime in the first quarter. Okay, I'm sure you've all noticed there is an offer out right now, a special where you can buy whatever program you're in right now. You can buy another program and get a second one, a different program, for free. So we haven't done this before. This is the first year we've done that at Christmas, but I wanted to put it out there as a Christmas special for everybody. Different than so what you normally get is whenever you're in a program, you can bring in a second person for free. That still stands. Okay, this is different. This is how you get into. Many of you said, I want to get some of these other programs, but the timing wasn't right, the money would have you. So we try to make it easy for you by doing that. So keep an eye out for that and take advantage of it while you can. I think that goes on until next week. In any case, tonight, guys, a little bit different format. We have a special guest. Tuan Pham is his name, and I'm going to introduce him to you. But a little bit of background. Tuan and I are in the same mastermind group. We meet quarterly, and sometimes we get to see each other at other events. And I've met Tuan twice now, and I'm really intrigued by his personal and business life stories. And I'll let him go into more detail on his personal life story later on, because we have a lot in common. I'll let him go into details, but I just want you to know that back in the early to mid 70s, my church and my family were sponsoring refugee families from Vietnam. And so when I heard Tuan's story, I was kind of got choked up, because it brought back old memories of old friends of mine who came over to this country, sometimes without whole or complete families. It was very, very trying times, and Tuan was part of it. I'll let him tell you more about that later. But for right now, I want to give you some background in business terms, which is why he's here tonight. Since 1983, he's been a wealth advisor and has won a lot of top awards. And I'm not going to give them all to you. I'll just give you some of them. He can fill in the gaps later on. But his firm was recognized as the best small business firm in 2004. Later on, Tuan personally was named the Businessman of the Year by, get this, the Congressional Committee Business Advisory Council. Okay? He was subsequently named honorary chairman of the Nevada Business Advisory Council. And I get to share a seat in the mastermind group with Tuan. So for those of you who've heard me talk about masterminds, you know I'm a huge proponent of them because of relationships you get to build like this one with Tuan and I. He's a certified financial educator. Notice I didn't say certified financial planner. Obviously he can do that, but specifically he's a certified financial educator. Huge difference, which is another reason why I really like him. He's a managing partner of PMP Advisory Group. His unique practice focuses on helping clients find money they are currently transferring out of their households or businesses, either unknowingly or unnecessarily, or both. Okay, and this can include areas of financing mortgages, paying taxes, funding their own qualified retirement plans, college costs, even automotive payments or credit cards. So this is a unique opportunity for all of us here tonight to learn a lot about personal finances at no cost. This is free for you guys. And also, if you think about it, think about your clients. And the reason we're doing this is a lot of you have had great success this last year, which means your clients have had great success. You should be taking this information and sharing it with your clients. Okay, share what you're going to learn tonight and what Tuan gives you, and share it with your clients, because they need the benefit from this also. By the way, Tuan's also a member of the National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors, the National Ethics Association, near and dear to my heart, also the $1 Million Roundtable. In any case, he has a unique program where he helps people pay off all loans, including mortgages, in roughly 10 years without sacrificing your current lifestyle. So ladies and gentlemen, if you could get your pens and pencils handy and paper, and also be really willing and able to listen and learn tonight, to Tuan Pham. So Tuan, thank you so much for doing this. I mean, this is a huge gift that you're giving to me and all of my students. I greatly appreciate it. I know when I speak for them, I say that they appreciate it too. So welcome aboard, Tuan.
Well, thank you so much for your generous introductions. Thank you so much, Gary, for giving me the opportunity to be on your webinar today. I hope the information I share with you in your group today will help you master the strategy of how to handle mortgages in the most efficient way. So they can educate their clients with expectations of selling more real estate. So that's the goal today. Hello, everyone. My name is Tuan Pham. You will learn more about me in a few minutes. Some of you may have heard of this concept that I'm about to share with you. That is wonderful. Please pay more attention if you did hear about this before, but it will bring more clarity to you. For those of you who have not heard about this before, and after this webinar, you need to understand a little bit more, please feel free to contact me. We will gladly to provide you with additional information.
Let me turn up your volume.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to turn it up a little bit more because I think that's my staff saying that they cannot hear me well. So.
Oh.
Is it better now?
Okay.
Is it better now? Okay, good. Hang on. All right. So the logo that you see here is living your dream, and I think that's all of us is looking forward to living our dream. That's the reason why I chose that title, and this is a brand new program that we have been working in the last year and a half. This is our newest product, which was launched last September. This program is designed to educate individuals, small business owner about finance and debt, and to assist them in getting out of debt in approximately 10 years, as Gary mentioned earlier. But this is including the mortgage, though. It's not only debt, but this is including the mortgage, without spending more than they're currently spending. So if anyone wish to inquire more about this program, please call me at the end, or I'm going to give out the email address so you can contact me. But for today's purpose, we will focus on how to manage your mortgage in the most efficient way. So have you ever wondered that you can sell more real estate by educating your clients about how to handle mortgage more efficiently? Have you ever wondered how it feels like to be able to build better relationship with your clients by providing them information that they really need? Have you ever wondered how it feels like to have never-ending source of referral from your clients because they appreciate the valuable information that you provided to them? Have you ever wondered how it feels like to apply a strategy that can tremendously improve your own finance? So I hope that everyone would like me to share those secrets to you, right? Actually,
yes.
this is not a secret at all. It has been around for centuries and are widely used by banks, 500 Fortune corporations, and wealthy individuals. When you apply this not-so-secret system and follow the steps, you will pay less taxes, take advantage of the arbitrage, and keep more money for yourself. And when you have the system in place, it is a sure way to achieve personal financial freedom. So you're about to discover the perfect investment tool, the technique that puts you in control of your money, a slow but a sure way to achieve personal financial freedom. So I promise by the end of this presentation, you will know how to improve your personal wealth better than 90% of the folks. You will understand more of how money works and taking advantage of your mortgage. More importantly, you will gain clarity of how to manage your money more efficiently and make it grow safely. So let's talk about the problem that we are facing today. So by the National Bureau of Statistics, Labor Statistics, out of 100 people by the age of 65, 29 of them are dead and 71 are alive. So of the 71 that are still alive, they are comprised of the following. 52 are directly dependent upon the government. This is not talking about homeless people. So 14 are still working, and away will be because they don't have the family. 3 are financially independent. They don't need any support. Their wealth continue to grow as they receive a comfortable income off of the asset. And only 2 are wealthy. Wealthy by any means is having a net worth of about $5 million plus. So it is very, very a situation that very upset all of us, because we live in the most wealthy country in the world, and only 5 of us are financially independent after a long career or a long time working on your career. So the mainstream of us actually are still, some of them are still not be able to retire but still go to work. And the example of that, probably some of you have seen, is that you go to Walmart, you're gonna see some greeters there. They probably don't want to be there, but unfortunately they have to do that to supplement their income. So we live in the most prosperous country in the world, and why we are in the situation that we are in now. So if every one of us do it correctly, we're probably going to reverse that situation. So the question is, where are you? Are we in the 5% or are we in the 95%? So do you want to stay in the 95% or do we want it to be in the 5%? So what it is that I have working in the last a couple of decades, and find out that what can we do in order to try to contribute, make a contribution to the society, at least to my clients and some of the family people or the people that I know of. So that's why we come up with the Hello Debt Free here. As I said earlier, that we are not talking about a lot of concept regarding HelloDebtFree.com, but we're going to focus today is to talk about one of the things that you probably wanted to learn, and because of the time constraint, we will try to finishing it up today. There are some technical things. Probably some of us will have a question after, so I'm trying to go through fast.
Okay.
Why HelloDebtFree.com is the concept is so important? Because it is powerful, widely used by banks and financial institutions, big corporations. It works for everyone and with almost every budget. It helps stabilize and control the flow of money. It creates financial security for everyday people, people without a mega income. It can be learned and managed with a few simple steps. So who am I and why should you listen to me? Again, I thank you, Gary, that have a very generous introductions. But I am in the financial industry since 1983. And for the last 33 years of learning and accumulating experience from practicing wealth management, I have a degree in finance. I am a certified financial educator. My program has been featured on ABC, CBS, NBC, and some other network. Our firm was gracefully received many awards, like a best small business firm. I am honored to be a qualified member of the MDRT, which is the most prestigious membership organization in the financial industry. I am blessed with a successful financial practice with many satisfied and happy clients. So I want to share with you my story. Very important, I want to share the story of why I do what I do. And I'm asking you for permission to share my story with you. I was born in Vietnam in a family with 7 siblings. Everything was going well until April 30th, 75. I was a college freshman. That year was also a year Saigon falling into the communist hand. South Vietnam surrendered to the North. The country became a communist country. We lost everything, including freedom and wealth. I was confined into a re-education camp for being a college student and trying to escape the country. The re-education camp is a fancy word for a concentration camp. Within a couple of months, I became paralyzed due to malnutrition. While in there, I was always dreaming and thinking of food. That's the only thing that I was thinking every day, every night, because I was always hungry. We have one small bowl of rice and a tiny bit of salt for dinner and lunch. I was constantly dreaming of a chance to live again in the freedom someday. I did everything to survive in the camp. I fought very hard not to die. Finally, my prayer was answered. I got released from the camp after 18 months. My group in the re-education camp started with 1,900 people. Only 600 survived the camp and returned home. More than 2/3 died to sickness and malnutrition. I was among the 600 lucky prisoners who survived. So 2 months after my release, I found ways to escape the country. I brought with me my younger sister and my brother, who was only 4 years old at the time. We successfully got out of the international water only after 2 days. However, later in the second day, the engine completely broke. Our boat was floating around with 102 people in there, and it was on the open sea for 32 days, which including confronting with the Thai pirates. That is a long story for another day. So we finally came to Malaysia after a few months. Our family was accepted to come to America. With this hardship experience, I learned 2 valuable lessons. You don't know how much precious freedom is until you lose it. It almost cost me my life to fight and regain freedom. The second thing that I learned was I never wanted to be poor and hungry again. I will do everything to educate myself to gain financial freedom. That's why I do what I do. So when I arrived to the States, I worked very hard to put myself through college and then graduate school. I got married to my beautiful wife, Cam Tu, in '83, and later on that year, I started my agency and working in my practice until today. I am a proud parent of my daughter, Ashley, and my 2 sons, Calvin and Jonathan. They were all graduated from college and became very productive citizens. This picture was taken about 11 years ago. So go through my story to give you the idea of why I do. I'm so passionate with the things that I'm doing now. So, but there is a bigger reason for me. It is my ultimate desire to help every single one that I'm touching or every single one that I meet. American family business owner to access the powerful information and to understand how money works. The government will never be able to solve the problem. that our country is facing. In fact, they are the one who create the problem in the first place. Now we have the new elected president. Regardless of which side of the spectrum that you belong to, I believe the problem will continue to exist for a long, long time before it's getting any better. So it is up to us to figure it out and to empower ourselves to create a better life for ourselves and our children. We should inspire everyone we know to advance themselves to financial freedom. This will ultimately help to rebuild a better and stronger America. So let's start with the webinar, the topic today. Let's start with your mortgage on your home. For most of us, the largest asset the family owns is the house that we are living in. We spend most of our time there. Great memories were made there, and they spend a large percentage of their annual income to maintain, to furnish the house. Because of all of these things, there are a lot of emotional attachment to the house. The American dream and why we do what we do. Part of the American dream for generations has been to own your own home. Remember what our parents and grandparents taught us. Get an education, go to school, doing well in school, find a good job, and then buy your house. And then pay it off as soon as you can. Sounds great, isn't it? Doesn't it? But is that everyone trying to do? How does that working out for the majority of us, for the people in America? But the difference is we have the 95% and the 5%. The question is, how do 5% manage their real estate? They manage it as an asset that should be managed. Most of us get emotional attached to the house that we're living in, because we raise our family there. We call it a home. In reality, wherever the family resides, we call it our home. The structure that we live in is nothing more than a piece of real estate, and it needs to manage as a piece of real estate. When one can disconnect the emotional tie from the house and evaluate the different way to manage the property, the family home can be an asset that can add hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars net worth to the average American family estate. We need to take advantage of every tax deductions that the government allows us to take so we can optimize our money. Why personal interest is not deductible? It used to be, if I remember correctly, that we used to be able to take deductions on our car. If we finance a car, we can take interest on that, but no longer be available to us. The U.S. government gives us a gift when it comes to mortgage of our resident. They allow us to deduct interest on our primary resident mortgage from our ordinary income. There are two qualified mortgage interests that we should be familiar with. That is the acquisitions indebtedness. The only thing that's restricted for this particular advantage is that the interest mortgage cannot be exceed $1 million. The second one is the home equity indebtedness. So that is, if you have some equity in your home, you can borrow up to $100,000 that can be deducted from your tax every year. The proceeds of the home equity may be used for any purpose. Another word is you can use that to even buy a car and then deduct the interest out of the equity. So without any effect of deductibility of the interest. So the deductions of the interest paid on home acquisitions and the home equity represent a significant tax break to individual taxpayer. And again, if you combine the two, it cannot be more than $1.1 billion. So let's use this example. If you buy a home and you have $300,000 mortgage, and if you are in the 25% tax bracket, which is for a single person is $37,000 to $90,000, but for a married couple is $74,000 to about $151,000. So if you have a $75,000 annual income and you are in the 25% federal income tax bracket, the total interest for the 30 years on the $300,000 at 3.1% would be $9,300. So that it comes to, if you take $75,000 and you minus the $9,300 mortgage interest, your adjusted income is $65,700. But if you don't have the mortgage, your tax is going to be $18,750. But if you look at it here, you're going to see that you pay only $16,000 if you have the mortgage. So the difference between the two, the $18,000 here and the $16,000 here, is about $2,300. Now, if you have a mortgage of $300,000, the rate is 3.1. So if you take the effect of the saving of $2,300 here, the effective rate is only 2.35. So the question is, why would you want to pay off the note when you can borrow money below the cost of inflation? That is very important, though. So if you see it here, the rate is actually 3.1, but if you take the interest and you use that, it will be lower to about 2.3. Okay, so let's talk about home equity works. Let's say that our home is worth $100,000, and you have $100,000 cash on the right. So we have two separate assets. When we have the cash separate from the house, we own and control two different assets. But let's say that if you use your cash here and you pay off the mortgage, we've been taught that to pay off the mortgage as soon as possible. I often ask my clients, what would you do if you be able to accumulate a lot of money as a result of working together with me? Most of the time, the answer would be that they will pay off the mortgage. Look closely what it happened if we pay off the mortgage by using our cash to pay off the mortgage. We actually cut our asset in half, placing two separate assets into one. That is how we are losing the control of one asset. So by keeping the two assets separately, it put us in the positions of control, allowing us to use the asset when we need them the most. It's placing us in the positions of liquidity, use, and control, which is so important. By having the liquidity and control, we are allowed to optimize both assets. So if by the end of the year, your house is appreciated 5%, it would be, now your home is going to be worth $105,000. If our cash here would increase about 10%, I think there's a typo here, 15%. It's a 10%, so your cash will grow $110,000. So the total gain for both is going to be $15,000, right? So equity has a zero rate of return. So the demonstrations that I showed to you earlier, if you pay off the cash, you take the cash and pay off the mortgage of $100,000, it's only gain 5%. regardless if the home is free and clear or you have a mortgage on it. So after separate the equity from the property, I still earn 5% through the appreciation of the home. And I was able to earn another 10% from the cash of the total $15,000. So this is 3 times as much as I make without separating my asset. Every time we put extra or excess cash into a property, we give up the ability to earn a rate of return on that money. Why? Because equity does not earn any rate of return. So that is, the loss of control and use. Understanding where the wealth transfer occur in the mortgage can prevent unnecessary losses. If you finance, you transfer interest to the lending institutions for the privilege of using the money. But if you pay cash, you save interest, but you lose interest because that money is no longer earned interest. So let's using the concept of banking, the banking model. So if people are putting a deposit, $1,000 deposit to the bank, what the bank does is, right nowadays, they don't pay you, actually they don't pay you anything. So, but assuming that they pay you 1%, so that is $10 by the end of the year. But what the bank does is they use the $1,000 that you just deposit and then loan it out to the consumer at the rate of 12%. So the bank now is making $120 at the end of the year. So the consumer have to pay it back to the bank $120, and the bank turn around to pay you $10. The bank is making the spread of $110, or what I call it is the arbitrage. So using that concept, let's examine the concept of arbitrage. Using someone else's money at a lower rate and earning at the higher rate on your own money is how you put yourself in the positions of control and move yourself up to the 5% percentile, the 5% instead of the 95%. So in this example, if I use $100,000, if I can amortize and borrow from the bank $100,000 at the rate of 3.5. At the same time, if I'm using my own money at $100,000 and earn a compound interest of 4.5%, if you see it, after 10 years, the total interest that I would pay if I borrow from the bank is $18,663. But the interest that I earn compounding in 10 years would be $56,699. So the difference is only 1%, but it is substantially bigger. I mean, the difference is substantial. The interest pay is 18 and the earning is 56,000. The difference is about $38,000. So this is, you're talking about only 1% difference between 3.5% to 4.5%. So managing the equity, paying cash for the house is a very expensive financial move. Over the 30 years time period, the cost is even more than what most people save for the retirement. You need a side fund to be able to hold your money that earning at a competitive rate of return that is safe, that is liquid within a predictable environment. You must stop using your primary residence to hold your money. House was never designed to hold money anyway. It was designed to house people. So the reason to separate real estate equity, to control where the cash goes, to have access to the cash when needed, to protect it from the creditor, to protect it from the market risk, to protect it from tax risk and to create an arbitrage in the side fund. So how do you use the side fund? How do you find a fund? You have to have some characteristic of the good plan. It must have to be safe. It must have to be liquid. There is no penalty to access money. It have to have some tax advantages, guarantee growth. It is not affected by the stock market, but most importantly, it have to be predictable. So is 401k going to do it for you? This is a bunch of different numbers and words, but I believe that most of us probably would understand that. The 401k is your pension plan that if you work for a large company. The 403b is the tax shelter annuity. The 501c is tax exempt organization, and the 457 is the deferred compensation and so forth. But are these investments have the same characters as we have on the left? Probably not. 401k, it could be safe, it could be not, but it is not, absolutely it's not liquid. There's a penalty if you access the money before you are 59 and a half. There's some tax advantage, but there's no guarantee to grow. So all of this, I don't think any of this would have any all of the character on the left-hand side. So I want to introduce to you a side fund that I consider the best alternative place to house and grow money with all of the characteristics and protections that were mentioned earlier. When we talk about creating an arbitrage, we need a place to put our money that has some predictability, use, and control. The only product that meets this criteria, in my opinion, is the Internal Revenue Code 7702 plan, or the Index Universal Life, or a special high cash value or whole life value. So the better alternative is that you should have growth, income, protection, and predictability. These plans are very unique and special, not your father-owned insurance type of policy. Not all life insurance agent or financial advisor have access to this unique plan. These are very special designed by major insurance company for a very few selected group of financial advisors who undergo a rigorous special training program to handle this type of products. So what are these? These are IRS tax code that regulated the cash accumulations and distributions of the life insurance policy. The most unique feature of the Index Universal Life Insurance is that under Section 72E and 7702 of the Internal Revenue Code, the accumulation of cash inside the insurance contract is tax advantage. Not only can the cash value accumulated tax-free, but the cash can also be accessed tax-free. It is a unique vehicle that allows tax-free account value accumulations, allow you to access your money tax-free, and when you die, it blossoms in values and transfer the income tax-free to your heir or your family. So now let's evaluate it about growing money in the taxable and a non-taxable environment. How important is that? If you have $1 and it double it every time for the 20 periods, tax-free. So after the 20 period, a dollar became $1 million. You would have $1 million. But let's examine on the other side. If you have the same opportunity to grow the money the same way, but in a taxable environment, and if you have to pay 28% of income tax every time on the gain, you're going to end up only have $57,000. That is a huge difference between the tax-free and the taxable. $1 million versus $57,000. So the key that I'm trying to illustrate it here is where you're going to house your money. Is it in the taxable environment or a tax-free environment? So you see the difference, $1 million versus $57,000. The difference of growing compound money in the taxable account versus accumulation in the tax-free account is the difference between becoming financial independent or financial dependent. So it's a huge difference. Albert Einstein famously stated, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it, earns it. He who doesn't, pays it. This is a very true statement. Compound interest is the only real thing that makes you rich. So IUL works well if you look for a place to grow your money safely in a compound and provide a steady, projectable, tax-free way of return. Let me explain. IUL product is created to provide market gain return without exposing your principal to market risk. You can choose where you want your money to link to among S&P 500, the Dow Jones, NASDAQ 100, Russell 2000, and so on, so on. Of course, the accumulation balance of your account is always protected with a guarantee and without any risk. Another safe feature the insurance have in place is what we call the floor and the cap, as you see here. Here is how it works. The floor means that your balance can never drop because the stock market loss. It is your safety net. It is part of your contract. Cap is the highest percentage that you can get credit. In this case, it's 13%. Let's say in this particular example, the floor is 0% and the cap is 13%. If the market has a significant loss, own principal and previous gain will remain untouched. However, your earning is 0% for that year. If the market is gaining 21% that year, your account will only earn 13% because that is the cap. So if the index gain between 0% and 13% works extremely well if you're interested in protecting and grow your money. So as you see here in this chart, this is between 2001 and 2015. Historically, that the S&P 500 has about 3 negative years. And you see that right in the beginning, 2001, if you have $100,000 here, the market dropped down to 11%. Your money now is only $88,000. But if you put it into the index universal life, your $100,000 is still remain $100,000. Second year, the same thing. Second year, it dropped another 22%. 22 points. So basically, what happened is that your money now only have 68,000 instead of 100,000. But look at this. Your money is still there in the universal life, on the index universal life, which is you still have $100,000 in there. The third year is make the difference. The third year, it gained 28.69. So now you are recuperate a little bit. You have about $88,000, a little bit more than the first year because you lost some money there. But look at it on the right here. Now your money is grow $113,000. So if you go through the whole 15 years, the money that you go on the market will give you about $207,000, but on the other side, you have about $271,000. So that is the big difference between the two, that you are still from losing the money when the market going down. So another feature that IUL contract has that separate any other financial product is the locking of the annual gain. Another word is that if you have 100,000 and if that year it gained 10%, now your money you have 110,000 in your account. But the following year, the market go down 10%. Instead of only have $99,000, you did not lose anything. Your gain and your principal is protected. It's right there. The following year, if it rose to another 5%, now your money you have about $115,000 versus if you only have 103,000 if you are in the market. So this is 11% spread right there. By avoiding 10% loss in 1 year, that make an 11% gain between the two lines, as you see it here. Avoiding market loss is so critical. How's the market works? I'm using this example. Probably some people are gonna say that it's so too technical, but I think I have to go through it. If you talking about the 3 years, March 2008, if you have $103,000 in the market, and the following year on March 2009, your money become only $65,000 because it dropped 37%. In March of 2010, you regain 26%. However, you are not even get back to the money that you lost. Now you only have over $82,000. So the reset is a wonderful thing. When I think about reset, I keep remember that Hillary Clinton said that she has a reset button with the diplomatics of the world. But I think that that's what she's talking about here on this particular case. That is what the reset, how it works. The same amount of money the same situation that you have, but in this case you have $115,000 in the IUL, which is the Index Universal Life. The reset works, and if the market drop, and in this case from 1447 to 902, because since that every year after you gain it, it's gonna reset. So you still have $115,000 here. You didn't lose anything. But when the market going up again, the following March of 2010, now your money is worth $130,000. And then you get a reset again for the next year. So the $130,000 there will be reset for the next year. So you can never go down, you can only go up. So I have lived through this, and so many of my clients went through between 2008 and 2010. None of our clients have lost anything in this period. In fact, they have gained quite a bit. I am afraid history will repeat again soon. The market now is top. I don't have a crystal ball, but I believe that somehow it have to make some corrections in the very near future. The problem is we don't know when. So Americans love 15 years mortgage. The rate on the 15 years fixed mortgage are now is so low that many homeowners can afford the higher payment, which allow them to pay off their mortgage in 15 years instead of the 30 years. The two rules that you need to know when consider a mortgage is, number one, protect your capital, and number two, control your cash flow. The question I have for you is, the 15 years mortgage, do they pass these two rules? Do they pass to protect the capital, or can you control the cash flow? I don't think that they do. The 15 years mortgage caused you to dump capital into real estate faster than the necessary, and it increases your monthly cost more than necessary. And here's I can prove it to you. Among the key findings for buyer of a new home is that they are on average 42 years old, have an average household income of about $100,000, and bought a home with the average market value of $400,000. So we're going to use this example. So when you compare the 15 years to the 30 years fixed mortgage on the $300,000 mortgage, the cost difference is about $8,600 here. The current payment on the fixed 15 years mortgage is $2,000. But on this particular one, there is a little bit higher interest on the 30 years, but the payment is only $1,300 on this particular one. If you see it here, on the 15 years mortgage, the interest rate is 3.1. This is 3.6. So you have a 0.5% more than the 30 years. So the payment is $2,000 on the 15 years and $1,368 on the 30 years. So the difference, a year payment, is approximately $8,600. So you use $25,000 here minus $16,000. If you pay for 13 years mortgage, the difference is $8,600. So let's use the example, and I can prove it to you that which one is better. If you look at the balance of the 30 years mortgage in year 15, the balance is about $189,000. This would be the year the house is paid off using higher mortgage payment in the 15 years, correct? So by paying the same monthly mortgage payment, but putting the same difference away in an IUL contract, earning at a reasonable rate at 6.5%. Right now, some of our products is earning about 7.4%. The cash value amount is equal to the total due at the mortgage year in year 15. And you also have, take a look at this. At the year 15, the account value of your IUL, of your policy, have $188,000 cash value. But at the same time, you have about $371,000 death benefits. So if you're using 2% of annual appreciations on your home at the time, after at the 15 years, your value is about $538,000 using 2% annual appreciations. So if the balance mortgage of your 30 years is about $188,000 here, so now you have available of about $349,000, $340,000 here. If you want to pay off the mortgage at that point, you can take the $188,000 from your policy and pay it off. But I don't want you to pay it off. And I will show it to you in a moment. Remember, we keep the equity separate of the two assets. Even if we do that, we still create a $300-something thousand here. So you still pay off the mortgage if you wanted to, but now you have more control. You have your cash, and you still have your home, which have an equity of about $350,000 here, as you see it here. So in the 15 years mortgage, the mortgage would have been paid off, right? This would eliminate your largest tax deduction and encumber on your cash. The 30 years mortgage, however, will continue for the next 15 years of about $16,000 a year. So let's look how it can best be handled. So another word is that now you still have to pay the mortgage on the 30 years mortgage for the next 15 years. And the payment is about $16,000, $417. So you have several ways to do it. You could take $16,400 a year here. Now, this is the policy that you have $188,000 cash value. Now you start taking it out $16,000 a year for the next 15 years to pay the mortgage if you wanted to. So that is what we're going to distribute, the distributions from your policy. So you actually don't have to pay a mortgage if you don't want it to, because you just borrow your policy to pay off the mortgage. I mean, to pay your monthly mortgage. So the mortgage that you pay, it still be tax deductible, because that, even that, they don't care that where's the money that you take it from, because when you take the money from here, you don't have to pay a single penny of taxes because you borrow from your own policy. But you still be able to deduct your interest on the mortgage that you pay. So the next 15 years, the mortgage is still paying off, and you still continue to take $16,000 a year if you wanted to. But then what happened? Now, if we're still using the So now the house is worth $724,000, and you have zero balance because you continue to pay for the next 15 years using the annual appreciations of 2%. Now you have an equity of $724,000, but at the same time you're still collecting $16,000 a year. So by the end of the 30 years, you would have paid off the mortgage. After that, you can continue to take the tax-free deduction of $16,000 a year, and your house is now worth $724,000, free and clear, as it has appreciated. I'm going to show you another different strategy here. I am also favor of the interest-only mortgage. They allow the most flexibility, create the biggest spread between the borrow fund and the crediting rate, and maximize the tax write-off every year. And it never reduced the acquisition indebtedness of the house. The difference of the 15 years mortgage and interest-only mortgage payment is usually a very large differential. So in this case, if you have 15 years mortgage, you're going to pay $2,000.89, as we have the same case earlier. But if you do the interest-only mortgage, the payment is only $906. So if you take the difference between the two, the $2,900, it comes up to about $14,000 a year. Everyone get that? So in this case, it's using $14,000 a year. And let's take a look at this option. At the end of the 15 years, if you put the same amount, the $14,000, into an IUL contract, at the end of 15 years, beginning of 16 years, you have an equity in your policy of $350,000. At that point, you can use that to pay off the mortgage if you wanted to. But would you want to do that? Let's see. But I want to point it out. I want to point it out to you that if you have a $350,000 cash here that you can take out, and you have a death benefit of $455,000, so all of along the way you have insurance in case if you did not make it in the first year or second year or any year in between, your mortgage is going to pay off. That is another key that I want to show to you. So by using this particular strategy, you're going to protect your family, but more importantly, if you live too long, you're going to get the fruit of your hard work. So at this juncture, you still be able to pay off the mortgage if you wanted to, or let's see if that's what we could do next. Or you can take $32,000 a year every single year, and use that 32,000. Out of that, you take $10,875 to continue to pay the interest-only mortgage. So that is the option that you have. At this point, you can turn on the distribution to cover the cost of the mortgage, and then you still pocket about $20,000 tax-free for yourself. At that moment, your value of the house is $724,000, and if you minus the mortgage, you still have an equity of $424,000. You've just seen one of the many concepts that folks in the top 5% utilize. It is completely different from the mainstream. Now you know the secret. The question is, are you going to take advantage of it? Would you share this information to your clients so you can sell them more houses and get more referrals? So I know that it is a very technical things here, and some of you probably scratched your head and saying that, hey, I wanted to see it again. We would love to basically walk you through it again. Anything that you have, any question that you may have, and even if you need to explain it to your clients, we would love to walk you through that again. So we have many trained advisors in the office that eager provide you with additional information. We also have many other strategies, as I said, to improve your clients' financial health. If you wish us to educate your clients in this topic or other topic, we can arrange to do a webinar for them on your behalf. Please feel free to contact us for question, comment, or more information. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Gary. Now you can take the control.
Hey, Tuan.
Yes.
We do have a question from Peter. Peter's asking, what does IUL stand for? IUL?
Oh, okay. That's a good question. I sometimes that I'm just using the technical word, and I'm sorry for that. IUL, Index Universal Life. Index
Universal Life. Okay.
That is correct. Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. Let me scan for more questions here real quick. Let's see. That was Peter. I think that was it. And let's see. That was. Hang on one second. Let me just check here the roster. Make sure we got everybody. And by the way, that was Peter Lester. So how you doing, Peter? Thanks for the question. And I think that's it. So one of the things I wanted to bring up to everybody is, as Tuan mentioned, when you look at this, I had two reasons for doing this. Is number one, for you, the students, directly to think of your own selves, your own lives, your own financial situations, but also always think outside the box. Think abundance, and how can you share this with your clients? Because this isn't just relevant to their own personal ownership of their own homes, but if they own investment properties, they can basically put the whole program of accumulating properties, rental properties, for example, adding this to that, so they really compound their gains, in their business and in their personal lives. And I've known of this before. I just didn't have an understanding like I do now from Tuan, from explaining this to me. And that's why I wanted to have you guys see it also. So I want you to think not just of how you can benefit, but how your clients can benefit too. And if you look on here, you see Tuan gives us contact information, address, phone number, and email. And I highly encourage you to contact him. Tuan, is there like a guide that they can get online from your website, or some type of a brochure or pamphlet that would help them communicate with their clients more effectively?
Well, I am actually revamping our website. We have several websites, but unfortunately at the time, we're still working on get some downloads. So
Mm-hmm.
additional information probably by the end of January that we will have more materials for that for download. But for this purpose, if anyone wants to email me or give me a call, I would love to because not only myself in the office, though I have other advisors in the office that would more than happy to go through it with you. And basically, if you have a clients that need to understand that, we will do it on your behalf, to help you to sell more of the real estate. And I think that I encourage you to do it for yourself and see that if it works because that you have to see your number, you have to see your own number in order for you to believe it because I have proven this one so many times to my clients because as I said, probably you too, and we have the same probably philosophy is that hey, I don't want to have any debts at all. I just wanted to pay off my mortgage if I could. But the problem with that is, as I explained it throughout the webinar, that you're losing control of your asset.
Okay. Okay, good. Thank you. A couple other questions here if you've got another moment. This is from Carlos. Hey, Carlos. And Carlos is asking, hang on one second here. Okay, since market growth includes down markets in housing value also, was the 2% growth rate used to give a conservative perspective?
Yes, it is because I think that now remember this: whether you pay off the mortgage or you have the mortgage on your home, it doesn't make a difference between how your house is appreciated. If you have $100,000 mortgage on your home and it costs 100,000, if it's appreciated 5%, now you have 105. If you appreciate 10%, you are at 10. But if you have a free and clear, it's have the same effect. It cannot discriminate between a mortgage free or a mortgage house. You see the difference. So and I use the 2% is yeah. The question to answer the question is yes. I'm using it in a very conservative way.
Okay, okay, good. Let's see. And Peter has a follow-up question. Tuan, do you use a quote-unquote paid-up rider with the IUL?
IUL is the universal life. It doesn't have pay up. Pay up edition is for a whole life policy rather than a universal life. But the index universal life, the reason I like to use the index universal life for this one is a longer term. But we have some other product, which is the whole life product. You can actually get 95% of what you put it in right away, right after you put it in. So, but we use it for a different purpose. And the HelloDebtFree.com that we use that particular products for a different purpose. But in this one, is we use Universal Life. And Universal Life doesn't have the rider for payout.
Okay.
It has a different structure, though.
Sure. Okay. And a question from Roger Newell. Hi, Roger. How are you doing? And Roger is asking, Tuan, does your group set up this plan for clients, or is there a certain insurance company you recommend to purchase this policy?
As I mentioned, it's only a very few advisor that understand truly how it works. And this have to be structured right now. You can have the same product, and if you don't structure it right, it's probably doesn't give you the result that you wanted. So basically, I am sure that there's quite a few competent advisor out there that that be able to help. But if you give us a call, and I probably, depending where you live, I may have some referral for you from the one that using the same concept that we use that I know of. I may refer it to you, so you can consult with him or with her. But I mean, I encourage you to give us a call, and if you need to do it, we can actually. We right now we do business in 12 states, but depending on what state that you are, we may even be able to help, or maybe we refer you to someone that be able to help.
Okay. Okay, good. Well, I tell you what, it sounds like everybody really enjoyed this. I know that I did too, and this is a real eye-opener here. Um, and I hope that everybody takes advantage of this because it is important. A lot of our students have seen a lot of success this past year, and then obviously our intention is that will continue into 2017. And as a result of our students doing well in their business, that naturally means their clients are doing well. And I've known of this for years. I actually did something like this way back in my 20s. I didn't use an insurance policy to accomplish this. I just simply, paid off the mortgage by making additional payments. I basically made 13 payments a year as opposed to 12. But that's like kindergartner compared to this. This is advanced, and this is far more powerful. I mean, the results are pretty astounding, So, so I think I speak for everybody when I say thank you for sharing your time and your expertise, and I hope that it sounds like some of these folks are going to be reaching out to you, and maybe in January, like you said, you'll have some more information on your website too. But in the meantime, I'm going to repeat your contact information in the email that goes out with the recording of the webinar. Of course, it'll be in the webinar here, but over time, it sounds like you're going to get some phone calls and emails here from interested people. So I know, and it sounds like this is something that you can do no matter where they are in the country. Is that right? In other words, I know you've been in, you've been up in Massachusetts, you're in Nevada now, but this would apply in all 50 states. And any chance that folks in Canada could benefit from this also? Do you have any contacts in Canada?
Canada, unfortunately, because of the contract and the structure of the products, I know that depending on the carrier, and I'm sure that there is some Canadians, larger insurance company who also do business in the state. However, that because of the structure of the policy itself, it may difference, and depending on the law as well. I mean, there's a lot to do with the law and the tax. So at this moment, I do not have an idea. But if you want me to, Gary, I probably be able to research more, and I will get back with you on this.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. Yeah, that would be good because we have a certain percentage of our students are in Canada. I actually spend. I'm of course a U.S. citizen, but I live part-time in Canada. I've actually taught up there. There's a lot of similarities, but certainly it's a different country. Even banks that bank in the U.S. and Canada, they actually have separate corporations set up in each country, even though it's the same, brand and so forth. But lots of similarities, and there may be someone up there in Toronto, for example, that we can tap into and help the folks up there also. But in any case, Tuan, hey, this is really awesome, and I really appreciate it. I can't wait to see you again in February, and hopefully at the Mastermind at the beginning of March too.
Well, thank you so much, Gary. Thank you for providing me the opportunity to be on your panel, and I really appreciate it. In the bottom of my heart, I thank you so much.
You're very, very welcome, and I appreciate your words of wisdom too, and I also appreciate you sharing your personal story of coming to the States from Vietnam, and that was that story was repeated many times, but it's very rare that you actually meet someone who, like you, had the courage and the fortitude to forge forward, not just once but twice. I mean, that's just amazing, and I hope people sense your authenticity and your genuineness here, because this really comes from the heart. You're coming from contribution, and I'm certain that you're going to be rewarded for it. So thank you all very much. Merry Christmas to everyone, or if you celebrate Hanukkah, Happy Hanukkah, or Kwanzaa, if you celebrate Kwanzaa, Happy Kwanzaa. At the very least, I hope you enjoy this season coming up with your loved ones. I know, Tuan, you personally, you certainly cherish your relationships with your family more than a lot of people, and so I value that too. And I thank you again. I think everybody here we're getting a lot of thank yous on the messaging here. I will record this and get it shipped off to you and all the students. And if Twan, you want to reach out to me, I'm going to be here working for a little bit, or we can touch base tomorrow. But I'll make sure Beverly gets you this to you by tomorrow. Okay?
Thank you so much, Gary, and happy holidays to everyone. Merry Christmas.
Okay. All right. Good night, everyone. God bless you, and we will see you next week.
Thank you.
Okay.